other teams start to adapt to this as well. This will be the second time, just within a few days, the 10s will make this choice. Let's get into it, though, and dive deeper into the action as the pistol round is getting started right now.
Slow beginnings for both of these squads. We focus mostly over towards the bathroom side as Tens has been cut off from a dark cover. If they have a possibility to get in Michael's face here, as he'll be the lone soldier holding things down inside of A showers for the time being. It's going to be Hug out here from the sky. And that Trailblazer out through the telly just to see what's going on outside of the bathroom. And they'll get some insight as to what's going on. Sick already pushing up inside of U-Haul as well. Paint shells out just to create some space, but now stuns out and Tens with an initial one. Also push forward his gate crash. Could possibly dive deep into sight when necessary, but it's still Sentinels. A hell of a grasp on this site and worried about the flank as well. They'll take out one, but now it's just nature as Tens take down Kusta.
From the 10s, working out very well so far. Dapper also able to move in and pick up one for himself here and ultimately close things out with the final kill as well. The entries are strong, especially inside of the showers right there, and allows Sen out onto the site very quickly with control. Both of the main contention points, they're able to overwhelm Gen.G and pick up that first round with relative ease.
A nice try there by Gen.G, but really just could not fight back against the Sentinels when they had already procured U-Haul, and then Tens gets that nice entry onto showers. Have the two avenues necessary in order to put a spike down, and they will achieve that and push us on into this next round. They do lose a couple of members, but that's not really going to mean too much for their buys, as, well, it's on to Spectres and Bulldogs for round 2.
Dar works its way in. It's going to get countered. Obviously, they'll know someone is in there. The blind side's out from Tens, and as well, the gate crashed back. And now that he sees that there's, okay, 2 to 3 people camping in here, probably not the best idea for me to be right in their face. That's what the gate crash is going to give you, though, the capability to get out of those hot situations very quickly. So they become a bit too hot to handle.
And that's where the creativity can come in from Tens here. You can do so many different things with this gate crash because it travels on its own. That's the biggest thing. It will continue to roll until it finds a corner. And speaking of which, Dapper swings from one. Kusta able to take him down. And that's also going to be a gun going the way of the U-Haul player. He'll be able to hold on to that for the time being, but he'll actually back out and essentially give Sentinels up for this. But they're finding all of the frags now, and that's what matters most. It's still Gen.G in the driver's seat, even though they are down on round count. Kusta's still with that Spectre and an opportunity.
Going down here. A little bit of contention coming in from the defenders on Gen.G, but not a whole lot they can do here, unfortunately, with the lackluster gun power. If they swing out into a direct duel versus anyone on Sen right now, looking at their weaponry, it's probably not going to go well for the defenders. Zoms as well seems to already have a good read onto the play from Nature to work his way back in through Market. You're going to see as well Zoms lining up some more of the stars to play this out, and Zoms will still be able to catch Nature despite deploying out that utility. Shazam as well manages Kusta relatively quickly, meaning it's all down to Sean, who also can't make an impact there. A solid second round going up on the board for the Sentinels. A little bit of damage done to them as Dapper and Tens go down, but it should be minor in the long scope of things, especially if they're still able to claim this upcoming gun round.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what the Sentinels are able to do, because this is where it all matters now. Into the third round, and Gen.G will have full rifles here. Defenses not going their way as of yet, but still have quite a few opportunities. They've only seen the initial breath of the Sentinels' powers. We're starting to see Tens do more and more with this Yoru pick. I really like how he's been using it so far. Really hasn't been using too much of the fake outs, but at least the gate crasher getting him out of some very poor situations.
GMD going to get spotted early on here in Hookah, meaning he's going to fall back relatively quickly. Sean as well, definitely catching some of the action, working its way up B main here, but also going to have to be cautious of the shock darts working their way out. Decides to deploy the Seekers. This will be a good choice. They all immediately get countered, but the problem is Tens with the gate crash goes to the wrong spot. I think he was hoping it would have been a little bit deeper in the site. Not the case, though. Of course, right into Sean's crosshair. Easy pick for him. Let's see if he can make it multiple, because those shots through the wall are slowly chipping him down, ultimately to the point where Shazam can now re-peek, taking him down. This will Nebula being deployed here to block out GMD, and in fact it will. It's not an all obscuring smoke, so we can play to the edge of it and see. Might be able to get a little bit aggressive against the Sen play that's boiling out now onto this site.
The Sentinels have done such a good job of breaking up this site. GMD trying to play for the cross from elbow, but everyone attentive to the situation. They knew that smoke was going to come down, and made sure no one was sitting behind it with open arms, and they'll be able to get that frag. Nature now, very similar straits to what we just saw his fallen member, GMD, go down and exact same fashion. We'll see if this smoke is going to come down or if Nature's going to push through. He will. Takes a garden fight, able to get one. Can he get the second? It's not his chance. Instead, it's Sentinels to take both of them down and leave Kusta inside of a 1v3. This rifle round was supposed to be the saving grace for them, but now it's going to go by the wayside. That's going to be all the guns to Sentinels, as they'll pick up all of those rifles and have some solid economy along with it.
Yep, Sentinels continue to build not only their economy, but their lead inside of the early game here. For Gen.G, it's unfortunate. They take up good positioning, especially with the play from Sean and what could have led into it for GMD. But as we saw right there, GMD smoked out by a Nebula, not really able to contribute in the way he would have wanted to stopping the outright push. That allows for all 4 players to get in and have this hold that you're seeing now, where there's just no clean or easy way for a member of Gen.G to get past that, unfortunately. Set at full control at that point, and there's not a whole lot our defenders could do to counter that. That's going to put them onto an eco round. Looks like we're going to have mainly upgraded pistols for the most part.
And just try and get any frags you possibly can. GMD trying for the early swing here, but Sick ready for it and was already sending the boom bot as well to clear out Hookah. And speaking of clearing Hookah, he will complete that as well. Paint shells out. Zom gets the garden player as Sean peeks wide, trying to catch him off guard, but yet again, another Gen.G member falls. Shazam now running out short here. He'll be able to at least catch one as the other is able to get through the teleporter. It's all left up to Michael on this side, who will also end up dying. So the Sentinels doing a very good job so far on cleaning up this eco from Gen.G. They want to make sure that they do not get away with any of these frags, but Kusta is going to make sure to get 10s while fully blinded. So a little harm, but not very much foul.
Yeah, so once again, those same 2 players going down in the early round, Dapper as well as Tens, and they seem to be kind of designated to that since they're more out in the open anyway with their play style. But regardless of that, the damage being done to them free of the economy through their deaths is not going to matter once more in the long run of things, just because of the fact that they're kind of dominating right now. 4-0 run against Gen.G, and just those 1 to 2 players going down, they could be supported easily by the rest of their teammates as they're building up quite a healthy bank themselves.
These rounds so far for Sentinels, obviously, really only that one rifle round of Gen.G so far. They're going to get it yet again here, so we'll see if things change up. But here it happens right now. Tens catches him off guard, pops right out of the ult, and shatters this man's skull with a shorty. Oh my, what a play from Tens. Another Hunter's Fury out here for Sentinels, as they'll start locking up the site, and it's just an ult fiesta. They pitch 3 in, and Tens is going to get yet another kill. Gen.G can't do a single thing about it. Viper's pit down in the back of the site as well, as all of these players trying to work into CT. Well, they're all going to get chipped down due to decay. They can't do a single thing about this. Michael, as well as Nature, locked cleanly out of sight.
Sick going down here, like we said earlier, doesn't really matter because you still have the pit being deployed out by Dapper, and he's not going to push into there. He knows that they're sitting here, and apparently Gen.G aren't even going to attempt the rest of this retake. Just far too much utility being deployed against them with the 2 ultimates used in that round. They're outmatched from a utility perspective, so they have no choice but to fall away, call for a save, and hand over the 5th round to Sen.
That might have been one of the dirtiest Yoru things I've seen in a competitive game. That was fantastic from Tens. Just pops right out of the dimensional shift with a shorty in hand and ends up gatting the man inside of Hookah. Impressive stuff from Sentinels as they're practically running a clinic right now on Bind. Gen.G, I can't even say worse for wear at this point. It's just not looking hot. Literally, first bullet, Blue. First bullet kill onto that Gen.G member at full shield. You don't see that one happen too often with the shorty, but it would take a player like Tens to get away with it.
The timing on that one was pretty impressive too, because they catch GMD while he's mid-animation after throwing out, I believe it was his paint shells in that situation too, so he could not have picked a better time to do that. If he's a little bit slower with that, then GMD probably gets his gun out and is going to be able to line up the headshot against Tens right there, because obviously he sees him that little bit closer, but still does not end up going that way. Tens gets the massive advantage right off rip within the first couple seconds of the round. Said never let go of the gas. Zam going to be using the Owl Throw nice and early to see what Garden's looking like. They'll pretty much detect immediately this is not going to be a full buy coming in, but Nature, what a shot. He's not going to be the only one he finds for himself either. Unfortunately, GMD does end up killing Nature as the paint shells get a little bit too close for comfort, so we'll have a rare team kill pop up as a result of that. But ultimately, the Sentinels have still been able to control this situation, even with that play unfolding. Zoms, as you can see here, out towards Fountain, handling the straggler, that being Kusta, and setting another board up or another roundup, excuse me, for the Sentinels.
Well, you might as well call it a board because we're not playing checkers here, John. We're playing chess. Sentinels are so amazing at what they're doing, man. I mean, that's honestly, if you want my true opinion, that's how I feel about this game, especially when it comes to Astra play, because it's practically a mini game of chess. You're constantly moving utility around and trying to see how you can possibly affect the board from across the entirety of the map. So yeah, I do think it's chess. How about that, huh?
I have no response.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll take my argument and I will leave.
You win this round, sir. We've got Zoms on the front foot forward. He is going to get scanned out by the info dart there, but TenZ has not been revealed just as of yet here. Poison Cloud goes out. That's going to come out from the defenders here, so it gives them a little bit more aggressive tendency to play in, but TenZ as well will try to force Michael back as the fake out goes, and I believe that did suss out at least one of the shock darts from the shadow coming out here from Kusta as well. Try and put Gen.G into a better position, but GMD walking behind the execute somehow is able to take down Sick. You've got Sean very front and forward too here. Looks like they worked their way out from main. They're able to walk all the way around Fountain into Hookah and shoot that player in the back. And this is now with Sentinel starting to rotate in. Sean could still make some serious waves here if he continues to cause delay with this position.
Gate crash back towards the execute here as Sean has another opportunity to try and slip in behind. It's going to be GMD to try and control space with this raise utility. Paint shells out first and showstopper now. No RPG. TenZ literally goes right in behind him and Sean shuts him down. Saw the gate crash on the other side. An amazing play from TenZ to be able to stop that ult, but now Gen.G finally have an opportunity. Seeker's out trying to find any of these stragglers as Sean still slotted in behind the Sentinels offense.
Second time now that GMD has been isolated out and taken down by the dimensional drift, so he just can't catch a break, it seems, over these past few rounds. Regardless, though, plant on the ground, but the Sentinels are in established post-plant scenarios. That dark cover could be great because the only other angle they had against this just got killed. That was Dapper over towards Garden. They can hard hold this defuse now, more than likely get it. They're trying to spam it. There we go. Shazam finds out the first target trying to defuse here. Nature looking to support, but he can't maintain. He's the last to fall, and the Sentinels get it done from behind a dark cover.
7-0 right now for the Sentinels as they continue to just blow past Gen.G. Top fragger for Gen.G right now is 4-6 through 7 rounds. This is just looking so very strong from them. We have got to see what TenZ was able to do here. It was actually simply the blind coming in, able to walk in behind him, and then the teleport out from the gate crash. You never know what's happening with Yoru, and that's exactly probably what Gen.G are feeling right now, because you do not see Yoru ever inside of a competitive environment. So now you're having to deal with this set of utility that you're not necessarily used to operating around. It just presents some very weird things for Gen.G to try and do, and honestly, this seems like a very big Sentinels play. Michael gets traded out. He'll hand over a judge, but it's not truthfully going to matter. TenZ will end up taking him down. The only thing that they'll be down, actually, is both Sovas.
So an even trade at the end of the day. A little bit of damage taken by Sean there as well, but nothing really to write home about. On to a very quiet portion of this round here. Neither team seeming to want to too aggressive in this situation, but that goes doubly so for Gen.G when you look at the investment they brought to this round. Just mainly upgraded pistols, and that is it. Sick will group up back over here at B main with his other teammate, and going to be working with Zoms. They were spotted out earlier. Sean was able to use the dog to push forward. He's going to use the guiding light now, gets the extra intel that they are indeed still pushed up onto B main, but he has no support. He's still alone here. He's got to be very cautious with the way he plays his forward position, as he can get caught out if he's not careful, but instead, he's going to catch Sick. The flash as well to find Zoms, and it works! Sean shutting both of the players down to try to commit to the push, but he's got more on the way from Hookah, and unfortunately, is finally going to fall to that. TenZ takes him down, and the plant will go down onto the ground. Look at how low both Dapper and TenZ are, though. This is incredibly winnable for Gen.G.
2v3, it's definitely doable for both of these squads right now, but it all starts now with TenZ. He'll be able to get the initial frag. He's looking for the ace if he can get it. The stun out, and Sentinels. What is that? They just put him right through the blender, John. Just take him to the kitchen. This is ridiculous right now. I feel like we're making Gen.G smoothies. This is impressive stuff from the Sentinels. They get full control of this site. It doesn't even matter that they're low HP. They win it out on the utility usage anyways. TenZ even dry peeks the first time, uses his flash after, and still helps out with the frags. It's 8-0 for Sentinels right now on Bind.
They had less than like 50 HP combined between the two of those players.
One shot each.
able to win out the 2v3 there. That was absolutely insane. The scoreboard at the bottom really speaks for itself right now. It is Sen domination throughout all 8 of these rounds. Even the ones that look close, Sen is still able to come back in those final seconds and shut down the late round every single time. We have not gotten an answer yet from Gen.G, and they're on defense here too, so we would hope they'd be able to scramble something together, but it's just been a non-starter every single round so far. We have to hope that they can piece themselves together in these last 4.
This has been difficult for Gen.G, and I think another aspect of this is they're not really changing up what's going on, especially around this garden area. Continually ran by Sean. Hasn't been the worst thing in the world, continually finding frags, and finally Gen.G getting some big ones when it comes to Hookah. Michael also procuring one as well. This is looking like the best Gen.G round that we've had thus far, and it is going to be. In fact, it'll be their first round of the entire game here inside of round 9. Sentinels 8-1 after Gen.G just take down every Sentinels member trying to push into Garden.
That's a confident win, though, from Gen.G. Finally taking the fight to Sen, and they win it quite confidently here, too. You can see some of their players try to portal away to get out of the hot zone. Just does not work out. They have no room to maintain there, unfortunately, as they try to take more and more fights against that Garden position. More and more players from Gen.G kept showing up, even though they were able to try and take down one of them. Another one took his place, and we quickly saw the remaining Gen.G members in that position able to take out the rest of the Sen push. So, and obviously not going to be trying to go for that exact play yet again. They're going to be taking a bit of a slower note at the start of round 10. They will have a lot of players positioned for a play down A short. There is going to be one of the gas grenades in the way here, though. Poison Cloud blocking off access, but that'll be going away pretty soon. You can see Nature's getting low on the toxin, so it's going to have to bring both of those down. We're also going to see the pit come out pretty much immediately after that, though. That, I believe, is coming from the Sentinels, so Kusta's position could be big if he specifically finds out onto Dapper, but can't get the lock. Zoms instead gets the kill, and a second to follow that one up. Nature does trade on the Sick, but that's just seconds before Nature himself goes down. It's a 4v3. We've got the pit deployed out on the site, and in just a moment, the plant should be going down.
Yeah, Sentinels are fully set up for this. They'll have Tens manning U-Haul. Everyone else set up for this spike plant. GMD more than likely just simply waiting here. Doesn't have paint shells or anything else, all except for his blast packs, and that's what he'll use to try and create some space inside of there. Now, ult out for Skies. Michael will get one spraying on through. Ten's trying to assist now as they've not been able to get this spike down, and it's been dropped, actually, right outside of the A site. It's going to be up to the Sentinels now to try and win this out in a 3-on-3 engagement. Minimal time now as both of them are recouping. What has happened thus far? Obviously, that Viper ult still working out in the defensive, or excuse me, offensive favor. The Dapper gets taken down. That'll drop. Tens gets in behind him. He makes the play. It's a distraction, but GMD, he slides out from showers, and he'll also take down the last Sentinels members. And that's going to be 2 rounds in a row for Gen.G when they desperately needed them.
GMD, definitely one of the more well-known players from Gen.G, and it's confident plays like that at the end of the round that have started to set up his own legacy after moving over to this game from the CS scene there. You can see Tens as well, once again, nearly making great use of the gate trap, getting that support from Shazam, but it just wasn't enough. GMD comes in with a hero flank from Showers to shut down the last 2 attackers on the Sentinels here. Finally gets some solidity going for Gen.G. That's 2 rounds in a row now, definitely putting a dent in the economy for Sentinels here. In fact, getting pretty close to breaking them. They're going to fully buy out here. They lose this one, we could very well see them onto an eco, but here comes the dimensional drift play, and he's going right past most of his enemies too. Brings himself out, but that does leave Nature in the open. The showstopper not going to be in the right position, but the follow-up from Sick is good enough. The problem is Kusta still holding on top of Truck. It's the immediate counter onto Sick and still keeps us even in a 3v3. Zoms as well is stuck here by the portal. He knows Sean's on the inside of it, has got to wait for him to make the play.
Sentinels now slowing this down to a halt. Can't blame them either. 1 minute and 5 seconds on the clock, and that's a big thing about Valorant as well. We usually have these initial, hot match or hot rounds where we'll just hop into site, try and find some opening frags, and then all of a sudden things slow down as they try to shift the goalposts, and that's going to happen yet again here. Taking that spike, rotating it on over to B, and trying to get this plant down. It's going to be the era to clear the site for Shazam if Sentinels yet again procure full site control and go for the post plant in the 3v3.
Spike planted.
GMD the first to arrive, which shouldn't be too surprising to the folks at home, and pretty close to his own showstopper there too, but probably not going to get the chance to deploy it inside of this specific round. Zoms setting up those last remaining stars he has in his inventory to block out the re-entry routes there. In fact, only one going to be done by him, another done instead. Gen.G's smokes bringing out there on their Omen. Not going to pay out, though. as we see 2 more come in for Gen.G. Hold from the Sentinels is all going to fall to Shazam. Shock Dart's in. That doesn't work, but the peek outright does. Recon Bolt also in there. It's going to get destroyed. Shock Dart to the corner. Won't connect onto Sean, and Sean as well will be able to move himself forward to get the kill. Does he have enough time for this defuse, though? And yes, he does, by only a few seconds. 2.48 to be exact, but it's enough to give Gen.G the round as they find a third consecutively.
Gen.G are finally finding these kills, John. That was the biggest thing, just not able to take down any Sentinels members on their entries, and this time they're prepared for these crazy plays that the Sentinels are opt to provide. We saw TenZ with a very aggressive play there, trying to force his way into the back of A, could not get it done, and they end up having to go for something else there instead. Rotated over towards B and try and play it out, but just cannot get it done. Gen.G finally fighting fire with fire as they're looking for their 4th round, hopefully.
See if they can get it. This will be a complete turnaround after dropping 8 rounds consecutively to the Sentinels here. Gen.G are on the warpath to try and win 4 in a row themselves to come as close as they could get anyway to evening this out. Hunter's Fury also coming in for the defense right at the time we would expect the aggression to start working its way out through A main by the Sentinels. Kusta will get a spot through the one-way off the poison cloud here. Takes down TenZ. That's probably one of the most aggressive players and usually a big part of the entry utility for Sentinels, so they're not going to have that luxury anymore. Kusta able to shut down another player. The responding Hunter's Fury does come out from Shazam, but he's not able to find a lock on anyone. The good news is Zoms did find an entry onto Kusta specifically, which has allowed them to move up at least to U-Haul, but still a lot more work to be done, and they're still down a player.
Oh, I'm getting that deja vu feeling. Right here. Gen.G and more specifically Nature shifts on over to Showers. We saw how that went for GMD the last time. It's a 3v4 now for the Sentinels as they're attempting to get this play to go down on A. Remember, Zom's wall will eventually go down as well as it strictly just blocks audio, and that's going to happen right now. Nature already with this move. They're waiting on this toxic screen to go down. Gen.G already with the forward move. Try and slide into space. GMD early on the showstopper, not able to get much done. Now down to 20 seconds. Paint Shell's out to prevent the plant. GMD will be able to get 1. He knocks out the Sova, looking for Zoms as well. He'll get the flick onto that. Spike down, Paint Shell's out. Does Dapper eat it? Tries to slide around, but it's a pre-fire through the wall. They knew he was going for the spike, and Nature will secure it. Gen.G wake up and grab 4 rounds.
Once again, it's GMD on the front lines. They're holding from the inside of Showers to make sure that Sentinels don't get the map control they need to push out and get their plant going inside of default. We'll take a look at some of the replays, with some great stuff on the Yoru from TenZ, but it seems like Gen.G finally got a grasp over that situation, as well as the outright aggression we were generally seeing from the Sentinels as we got towards the late end of the half there. The question now becomes, with them switching to the attacking side, will the 4 rounds they picked up be enough for them to come back in a 4-8 deficit, or is Sentinels going to try to fully lock in and take this map now from their own defensive half? Let's find out.
Well, I'm happy you asked because we have the answer right here, right now. It all starts with this pistol and how this is going to go. And a pretty creative buy coming in from the Sentinels. 2 Frenzies making an appearance. And classics across the board for Gen.G. I think that's more of the talking point here. Not having a single Sheriff or anything else. Just trying to dedicate to utility mostly and see how it goes. Making sure to have those light shields as well, just to contest a little while longer. It's going to be Gen.G with an early use of the blind to take out Hookah, but it's immediately traded back by TenZ with a beautiful shot through the Hookah wall.
Sick does get the cross from Portal over into Hookah, so we'll be able to maintain that additional control as well. Waiting for Gen.G to make the first move. We did not see cross from Portal catch players that were still sitting down at the end of market, but either way, that's going to be irrelevant now as we've got the rotate coming in through the Portal. Sentinels pretty much immediately locked onto that move. 3 of their own players over there themselves. We still have 1 straggler sitting behind. In this case, it's going to be Shazam left to defend the B site. And a good possibility now that the play from Gen.G could be shifting back in that direction again. Double audible here as they go through the portal to bait the rotate from the Sentinels. And so far that plan has worked. But if they don't come out soon here, Sentinels definitely going to assume something is up. This is a long time since they jumped into that portal that we've seen a whole lot of miss action. In fact, you can see TenZ over there getting the gate crash ready to go. He's going to send that a good halfway across the map. Utility starting to come out on B. Wouldn't be too surprising if he takes that at any moment. We see the rotation commitment start to come in. Problem is, though, it's going to arrive way too late here, especially with the gun power still in play. We're going to see, though, Michael does take down Shazam, and that's full control of the site gone over to Gen.G. Now it's all up to Sentinels to retake, and they only have the defender spawn angle to work from.
Well, it's a great start here for Gen.G, getting that spike down and putting the Sentinels in a precarious position here for the pistol. Down a man and now trying to defuse. Doesn't seem like they'll be able to stop it. Sick, taking quite a bit of damage, and finally they'll be able to get him off of it, but he's got it halfway done. Only thing is now Sick into the 1 versus 3, very minimal HP. He's trying to round the area, seeing if he can get any disjointed 1v1s. He'll find the initial one, but he won't be able to beat it out against Michael. Fantastic round there from Gen.G as they shift things on over to B and rush down Shazam inside of elbow to make sure he can't get those shock darts off.
Gen.G take the kind of unexpected step in the post plant there too, to all stack together in the elbow direction, leading over towards the defender spawn corridor. So works out. Sentinels were definitely expecting a little bit more of the post plant action to be over there towards the garden and hookah, which is why they threw their first smoke directly on top of the spike itself so they can make an attempt to defuse and get those players in the open. Didn't really work though, as ultimately it was a flank against them from their own spawn. So to see if they can recenter themselves after this eco subsides after this.
It's going to be 2 sheriffs for the side of Sentinels, just trying to deal some damage to the Gen.G economy, as they'll have full-on Spectres for this round. It's going to be the lead-off engagement here between Sick and GMD, both the Raze players for their respective squads, and that'll give up at least Shower right now on A. For Gen.G, though, it is quite slow moving. They're trying to figure out exactly what the next move is. As you can see, Sentinels have already rotated all of their units over towards A, and now Sick has the lead-off kill as well as eliminating the Trailblazer. This isn't looking too hot just yet. Michael might be able to get 2. He will, as well as Sean. Ten's finally with the refrag as well. They'll be able to battle back, but again, it's the shift from Gen.G. They're headed B, and they're more than likely getting a spike down.
Sentinel's going to be hot on the tail of this Gen.G rotate, however. 10 specifically, as he had the gate crash off cooldown ready to go. In fact, he's using it to move forward slightly. Issue for Tens, though, is going to be he's lost his only other teammate here, so the round is pretty much dead already. He's got a 1v3 set before him. That gate crash down far away. Probably going to see that not be able to be used as of much here, as he looks like he's going to a corner just to play for eggs at this point, more than anything.
Well, actually, you know what's funny? He's going to play for exits on both sides. That's what's about to happen. He's going to play for the exits here, and then he's going to teleport all the way to Fountain to see if somebody comes down from Garden. Prepared.
Unfortunately, can't anymore because he's run out of time on that last one there. So
it was a good thought. You can at least give me that. I mean, you know, especially since they all low-key rotated out that way. He'll get one, and then he's going to make sure to die to this. What? I was going to say, it doesn't have enough time. Either way, you never want to question Tens off rip because he sometimes does some crazy stuff. So I was just waiting for the beeps. I had to wait for the beeps there, but did not definitely expect Tens to be able to win out that one. He'll at least get the exit frag, and that'll be good for a little bit of damage to Gen.G, but nothing to call home about.
This is going to be the end of the easy round, so to speak, for Gen.G, getting past that quick eco from the Sentinels. And even then, it wasn't necessarily easy either. Sentinels still putting up kind of a dangerous fight, especially in the early round there, but not nearly enough with just those pistols to be able to steal the round outright. So we go 8-6. Sentinels still in control and looking to regain it now that they come into this next round with full gunpower. Won't even be the case for Gen.G. 2 of their players, from what you can see, GMD and Sean actually working with pistols here. So it could be a good chance for Sen to regain their lead and really lock it down.
It's going to be Zoms with an early smoke for Showers here. They'll give up the ult point, but it'll be exchanged for a little utility on Gen.G's side as they'll clear it out themselves with the Trailblazer of Sean. Low beginnings now inside of this round. No one wanting to get too aggressive just yet. Both jump peeking to see who is inside of the bathroom area. And well, Sentinels to blink first as the paint shell goes out. GMD using his earlier on to try and assist with this clear, as Sentinels doing a bang-up job of keeping him locked outside of A for the time being.
Sam walking right up to a potential target here. Gonna go up against Sean, wins the fight to end the follow-up against a Michael. Very well played by Shazam, and the action for Sentinels isn't even over just yet. Zom starts to fend off the Showers push. Only goes 1 for 1 though, and is gonna let Nature out. Sick seems to not be aware that Nature's gotten out as well. The misread on the situation is costly for the Sentinels roster here. It's let their opponents into the site, likely going to allow them to get a plant down onto the ground here now as well. They're still being cautious, watching out for this lurk from Shazam, which is coming through the A portal. Maybe the only reason they're holding off from going for the plant right now, but problem is wasting all this time. Now lost any opportunity they might have had to get the plant on the ground in the first place. Kusta is completely surrounded. He's lost his only other team support. Tries to bait out Tens, but instead Tens outright kills Kusta, and Sentinels secure the 9th round.
Oh man, Gen.G just not able to find the opening frags that were necessary to work onto A, getting stuck at the door every single time. But the highlight play of that one has got to be Shazam. He's able to work that flank and find some beautiful, beautiful kills up against Gen.G. As for right now, though, Gen.G finally getting back to rifles across the board. We'll see what else they're able to do now. The only issue is being that, oh, Michael, he's stuck on a Spectre, so we'll have to see if he gets in bad straits because of that. But he has the utility to be able to support the team, and that's truthfully what matters at the end of the day.
GMD waiting for a chance to impact against possible aggression coming out from the showers. Sick probably will be biting on that, though. Sick was patiently waiting for the utility to be thrown in against him, but wasn't ready for the immediate follow-up, unfortunately, after the Trailblazer made its way forward there. GMD will strike first this time for Gen.G. Sick falls. Once again, Gen.G have the 5v4 opening advantage. Looks like they're going to follow it through with pressure onto the A site. See screen going down. Both Vipers in this situation here as Gen.G try to line up the beginnings of their push, but ultimately not looking like Gen.G are feeling the commitment just as of yet, but I believe that that's starting to change here as they figure out their last few moments of strategy before really committing to this strat.
Oh, this is rough. We see the gate crash come out from TenZ, but he's teleported all the way to B. When the take seemingly is A right now, but luckily enough, it's been slow moving for Gen.G. They haven't moved out of showers as Dapper's been able to hold them off here, but they've been able to use the wall to at least get a plant on the U-Haul truck. So good news for Gen.G going into the post plant. They've taken down 2 Sentinels members now, and this is looking like a free round for them if they're able to win out these engagements. But it all starts now with Shazam, and he's able to get 2. Shock dart gun, it doesn't matter. He's good for it. TenZ now with the ult, he'll be able to clear out everybody. He's telling them exactly where they are. They see 2 shooting right through U-Haul with the Hunter's Fury. The dimensional shift going to go away in just a second. Kusa trying to get the swing. He'll win one, but not the second. It's down to the 1 versus 1 where Nature finally creeps out from U-Haul. Shazam's Hunter's Fury not able to find him, so Nature can find Shazam. Gen.G stay in this and bring us within 2.
Very, very close game now here as Gen.G has nearly completed their comeback, bringing it to the same degree as we were a few rounds back when we were at around 6-8. I like what we were seeing there from TenZ. I'm not entirely sure if it was intentional or if the ultimate even works this way, but it looks like with the dimensional drift, he was trying to like body block players and keep them on the inside of the U-Haul. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure if the ultimate will actually work that way, but if it does, that's actually a pretty creative way to try to keep those guys corralled in there so that his teammate, whether it was Shazam or someone else in that situation, could try to actually pick up the frags.
That's a really good question. I'll have to get that answered later on. As I'll be really honest, I don't have that much time on Yoru, but Shazam's probably going to have a little bit of time staring at a gray screen because Kusa just removed his head. So that's going to be a big play to open things up here for Gen.G going into this round. Obviously, some save going on across the board for Sentinels here. They still got some rifles, but being down their main intel operator or intel agent is going to be quite difficult. They do still have TenZ to be able to do so if he wants to get risky, obviously, with that gate crash, but we'll have to see what they want to do. Gen.G now with an opportunity to try and take control of B, but they could still obviously shift things, still have some presence over towards A as they start to back out.
GMD and the rest of the squad will work their way back. We are going to see the showstopper used. In the meantime here, Kusta goes for the quick from the Shadows port so he can be first to the site to make sure that he supports Sean in case the early rotates will arrive ahead of the rest of their own team. Not going to be the case. Gen.G beats him to the punch. They will have plenty of time to get that plant down, but the rest of the team also here from the Sentinels. Seems to not matter much though for Kusta as he gets himself a nice double, triple overall on the round, accounting for the kill he got earlier. Now, only TenZ and Sick left alive to try and pull off a retake here, and for them, they've worked their way out pretty far onto the site, but this is all by design. Gen.G want the play to go this way. Now, they want to take these angles very far back. Because they have the player advantage, they can just play off of each other on the current angles, make sure they trade their way to victories. They have more than enough players to do so. Double swing, for instance, there against TenZ makes quick work as a 1-for-1 transpires. Sick, now the only player left here, trying to really just race up to the site, catches Sean unaware, but now really out of time to even get onto the spike. So he's just going to hop into the portal, get out of here, and the round will once again work its way over to Gen.G as they'll push up on 8.
Well, this is looking like an entirely different Gen.G, and it's mostly happening inside of these opening engagements, especially inside of that last round. Did such a good job of fooling the Sentinels. Everyone thought that they were going B, and they throw it back the other way. Beautiful use of the teleport from Kusta as well to get set up, and just keeping them locked inside of Metal here. Some awesome stuff either way. So we'll see if Gen.G can continue to do so, as they will continue to be able to procure these rifles, and that's the biggest thing going forward. Is Sentinels buys are going to be looking well, about nearly half. I mean, they really just have a rifle and some pistols. You can't even necessarily call it that. It's mostly eco for the side of the Sen.
So quick walk up coming in from Gen.G. Once again, 3 players in position by the garden push to work their way forward out onto the B site. We're going to see some immediate counters work their way in, though, from the defense. Sentinels using those stars and turning them into the nebulas immediately blocks off both points of access. There's another one ready to go, too, if they want to try and bring that out. Should Gen.G challenge these nebulas, he can throw out the Nova Post or the Gravity Well right in front. I believe it's the one next to guard, but we could have it deployed by Hookah as well, and there's a possibility of him drawing it back. But either way, it's caused a hold for Gen.G here as they are stuck at the entrances to Hookah as well as the garden entry here. They don't seem to be too keen on making another push forward for themselves. Dom's continuing to wait this out. Pops the second to last nebula he has sitting in front of Hookah here, and there's one more to delay the actual play. But garden is now open for the push. We're going to see that come true in just a moment, more than likely. Gravity Well does get used on that final star, so no additional smoke to block out the Hookah player or utility in general. GMD can now enter the fray, enter the fight with the rest of his team, and that's exactly what they're going to do. 1-for-1 exchange to start it out, but GMD keeps the pressure on Sentinels here as he's able to pick up that frag. Nature does one on top of that. Now leaves 2 players alive for the retake, but Sick moves in, at least able to find Michael. Everything falls to Dapper here, and Dapper, unfortunately, can't even get into the site. He's immediately shut down by GMD, and Gen.G do it. They bring it back all the way from an 8-0 deficit to now tie it up at 9-9.
Yeah, this was looking very bleak. I mean, at one point in time, Sentinels is up 8-0, and at the 7-0 mark, I actually ended up saying the highest fragger on Gen.G had 4 kills through 7 rounds, and it's a huge difference maker now for Gen.G. Completely different look for them, and they're just looking a lot more calculated in what they're doing, particularly inside of that round, taking their time, clearing out the site with the Owl drone, and making sure to use that utility to force their way out. Beautiful paranoia flying through the box and making sure that none of those Sentinel members have a snowball's chance in trying to get out of that one. So now it's down to this round. Very important round here as TenZ has went all out. There's an operator in this man's hands, and it's a full buy across the board.
See some of that early intel being gained by the Sentinels, specifically by Shazam there. The info dart works its way out. Gathers exactly what they need about typically the long play. Shock dart from him too, nearly getting some serious damage onto both Michael as well as Nature. Is getting a little bit off the mark in order to make that work. What we are going to see now as Gen.G deploys is going to be Nature using the pit to flood out onto the site. Won't go fully in, so they do have a plant avenue here, but it's very narrow inside of the pits. Let's be careful with the way they play it. TenZ seemingly with a line up, but unfortunately not. Guiding Light is going to blind him out instead. GMD working his way forward into the site. He's got the showstopper ready to go. He just can't find a target to shoot it at. And even the one that is finally deployed is still off the mark to actually find Shazam. He survives that somehow. TenZ and him will continue to maintain pressure at the edge of long. Doms will start the retake, though, as he takes down Nature. That will also destroy the pit.
That's a big pick for the Sentinels there, as that'll render it useless.
Oh my goodness, TenZ.
Down, and TenZ, someone that doesn't miss very often, but apparently his misses comes in packs. Well, he won't miss that time around. He takes down Kusta. It's a 1v3 now for Gen.G, and more specifically, Sean. And as well, Spike is planted for him. Still has some Guiding Lights to be able to use. Guiding Light out, but he blinds himself immediately. Swings into it. He'll take down Shazam, looking for the frag, but TenZ finally seals it, not missing this time around as the operator will ring true.
Gen.G so close from finally stealing the lead away from the Sentinels, only to lose it on the very point they tie it up against them there. Sean, as well, being a little bit of a raid boss for TenZ, apparently, as he has to keep his crosshair on him for pretty much that entire post plant up until the rest of the team was able to clear out the inner site, and he can fall back behind the safety of his other teammates there. So good play from Sen. He's at least able to keep control of the situation and not allow Sean to outright move himself from that spot and take down any of Sentinel's own players. So still controlled at the end of the day. And Sentinels now on double digits, just a few rounds away from securing the first map of this series. We'll see if it will indeed go that way, or if Gen.G still have that fight left in them. The early pressure from them is actually not really going to be deployed anywhere specific. We definitely have some utility working its way in to get some showers control, but no decision made in terms of where this is going to go in the late game, just as of yet.
Yeah, this is pretty traditional from Gen.G from what we've seen from them throughout this map so far. Not going to get the dedication of anything else, though. I like this from GMD. I really think that he needs to be keeping this utility for sight, as Sean can continue to clear out this area with guiding lights, and he gets those back on timer. So big stuff for Gen.G here, as they'll be able to keep hold of the paint shells as well as the boom bot. So have some control over space control when it comes to getting into sight yet again here. But now for Gen.G, shifting over towards B. They'll start to drone out long and see if there's anyone playing around this area. More than likely worried about TenZ, as this was his post for that previous round.
So Michael sending the owl drone in.
I've got your trail.
Going to be able to find anything on the inside of the site. Sentinels still for rotate opportunity to work their way over, and they're finally going to get it now that they see the full commitment coming in from Gen.G here. Sean as well, ready to fend this off seemingly. He is going to get the spot onto TenZ, or rather I should say Nature gets the spot onto TenZ, though, as he can't creep in the same way he's been doing on the attacking side. Dapper, though, in a corner there. Should have been able to get away with more, but is not going to be the case. Nature makes quick work of him and leaves only Shazam alive, who unfortunately is well too far detached from this action to commit to much. So he tries to fall back for a save, but GMD is well ahead in that department. Catches him before he can even leave his own spawn. Sentinels will falter again.
Well, very well done from Gen.G there. They're doing a great job of baiting the Sentinels back and forth, trying to make sure to clear up sight, and man, it's just not looking good for Sentinels right now on these retakes. They try to get it done with a dimensional shift from TenZ, getting some good info, but when he pops out to try and get a surprise kill yet again, he just has 3 members from Gen.G just standing right on top of him. So more than likely not going to go his way, and that was the case. So now down to the save yet again here. Tries for an early peek with the Marshal from Sick, but can't get the bag sealed. Now back to the clear here for Gen.G as they're looking for showers control yet again.
Sean and GMD first up to bat here as they work their way in and get that free showers control going for themselves. Shazam also going to bring out a very early Hunter's Fury here to try and get some damage onto those players across the way. We'll be able to connect a bit over onto Kusta there, but aside from that, only the half HP getting drained from him. But a full kill still going to hurt in the long run, though. Get the rest of the map here. It does seem as though Gen.G are going to center themselves closer towards an A push once more. Everybody grouping together. Shouldn't be too much longer before we start to see the commitment to the inside. As we talked about in the early round, GMD and Sean were able to get easy control of showers. That's point 1. Now they're just working on setting up the utility for the push out through main. Establish point 2 for themselves. Michael as well, keeping the options open over towards B also, as he's lurking hard on this side of the map. But Sean finding another pick onto A. That'll be the first kill of the round. It's against TenZ as well, so a good opener to be sure. And they will follow that through with the second one as Sick also falls. Sean going to try to take care of the player in U-Haul. Doesn't suspect that Zoms is in there, though, and does do a double take to the corner. Zoms will win his engagement as a result of that, but it's only a small victory. He's currently waiting for the rest of the rotates to come from B.
It's a 3v4, but you have to remember Sentinels do not have a lot of weaponry when it comes down to it. Mostly pistols, all except for that Phantom that they were able to find. But now that too is passing. It's all left up to Shazam. He'll be able to at least pick back up that Phantom that his teammate once had. But with very low HP and a low mag, he'll at least have to slam a magazine before he starts moving out. He knows that he can't win this, and he'd much rather save this gun. So he's working his way back towards spawn. It's going to be Gen.G taking the lead for the very first time here on Bind.
Submit will take it at a very pivotal point, too. We're already past double digits for both teams here, so we're just a couple away from claiming a winner, assuming we don't go to OT yet again. Which honestly might be in the cards with the way this game has been going as of the past few rounds. Gen.G has really come back into this in the second half in a booming fashion. Is now looking to try and push it fully into their control, which again would be an absolutely crazy story if it develops after we've already had some insane comebacks from the open qualifier last week.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention the stat that we were talking about earlier today, the Sentinels in the last 2 months have only lost a singular map, and it was to the Sonics on Icebox. So this would be yet another map that they end up dropping inside of a very low time frame. So I have to see what this is going to go like. Obviously, Shazam Playing out towards Garden again. It'll be an early recon and a possible Owl drone, but instead chooses to go with the shock darts before then. We should get a good read here as Michael will take down at least the Owl drone, but going to be some solid info here for the Sentinels. Still trying to figure out exactly where they want to play this out. Dapper has to be forced out of Hookah now. Nades in and everything else in between. He's going to be stuck to his utility to try and keep them at the gates. But again, Gen.G have so much time to be able to do myriad of different things here. They haven't even committed to be long yet.
Michael wrapping his way in once again with the Owl drone. Only gets the intel on the player. It's going to be positioned over towards the elbow. Not much else aside from that, such as the positioning of Dapper sitting back closer on the B site by the pipe. Considering that, though, we still have a full commitment from Gen.G to the Garden entryway. 3 of their players, in fact, going to commit to that right now, where the other 2 are grouping up in mid, probably going to be working their way in through Hookah. It's a 1-to-1 start, though, so not too promising for Gen.G here, especially with Dapper still being an issue on the inside of Hookah. Takes down Kusta, is going to look to take down the 2 aggressors working their way in naturally for mid, but that gets stopped by Sean. The showstopper's out, but it's going to go way out to left field, and Nature gets away with these 2 kills for 3 overall on the round. That leaves only Zoms alive, and Gen.G with a very high possibility of securing the 12th round over the next few seconds.
All right, so explosive from Sentinels, trying to regain control here, but simply cannot get it done. It's going to be the blind from Sean, guiding light out into spawn, and ends up taking down the last Sentinels member. This is unprecedented right now. Just want to remind you guys, the Sentinels had an 8-0 lead at one point in time. They've only been able to get 2 rounds since then, and Gen.G now sits on the precipice of giving them their second loss inside of 2 months.
Well, let's see if they can finish it off. It seems all but likely at this point, with only a 2-round deficit between these squads. One tectonic shift in the favor of Sentinels might truly make up the difference and allow them to come back and trigger yet another OT. We already saw one in our first series of the day. Very possible we could end up with another one here once again in the second series. GMD, though, as we start to focus once again on the action from Gen.G, is going to have to face off against this aggressive push, and he's not ready for it. Sick walks right up, and he's looking towards the corner to try to fend off the jump up instead. He is the one that's going to get taken out here. Kusta at least is able to respond to that as he dispatches Sick, bringing us back down into a 4v4. Still, Sentinels have a lot of control right now, specifically towards the back market. Zoms will be wedging himself right between the 2 sites and will be able to give his team a lot of intel into the potential play that we will see from Gen.G.
All right, well, Zoms will at least make it out of this situation alive, so that's a big thing here, as he was, as you said, sandwiched in between 2 separate sides of Gen.G. Now, shift coming back from Sentinels. Be able to get the hot peek, and they'll also know that there's people now inside of Hookah. Smokes down across the board as Sentinels are well aware of what's going on, but it's a shift play for Gen.G. They hit the telly and start barreling down onto A. Pushing right through Showers. They're going to grab the ult point really quickly for Nature. That'll give him his toxic smoke. The Viper's Pit more than likely going to come out, and that's exactly what will happen as it pours out of Showers. They're looking for a plant here at their earliest convenience, but not before Zoms is able to get Sean, and Michael takes down Dapper.
Tom's another one as he's still holding strong inside of the midpoint here. Tens with the wraparound picks up a very important frag against Kustas. He was the first to plant. Nature also goes down to Tens only a moment later. That's a big comeback in the late round for Sentinels as they're able to secure their 11th. Only one away from OT now.
Fantastic idea there from Gen.G. Try and force everybody over to B, start putting down some utility, or just showing face to where Sentinels know that you're there. Attempt to get them to rotate and then just hit the teleporter and get the heck out of dodge. Very smart overall, but Sentinels just prepared at the end of the day. They keep things locked down on A, and, well, Viper Pits be damned.
Dapper will be able to throw out his own pit and immediately block access to A, which generally speaking has been the go-to for Gen.G, but they've kept their options open. We've already seen them execute on B multiple times, so if they get forced into that as a result of this pit, it won't be too surprising, and they'll still be ready to handle the aggression here. GMD still trying to make that forward progress to get the same shower control they've usually gotten, but Sick very heavily challenging this time, using a lot of his utility in order to get that done, but it seems to have completed the job quite well, or at least slowed down that initial take tremendously. Not only that, but GMD's used his paint shells, he's used the large majority of his utility, including Boombot. They're not going to have a whole lot to bust out onto the site with here, which is unfortunate, as that was probably a big piece of the utility they would have tried to use here.
Absolutely. It seems as though they're going to wait for a guiding light from Sean, though, and that instead will be the execute marker. Sick trying to move forward inside of this Viper's pit. He knows he has a target on the other side, goes for the flick, but it's Michael who's just that much better in this situation. Gen.G trying to find a way out of showers right now. They've pushed to the back of the site as well. No real chance for the Sentinels to try and combat from any facet here. Finally, somebody tries to take a peek for short, but no. Dapper also met with the same fate. It's down to a 1 versus 5 for Zombs to try and get the Sentinels out of map 1.
See if the hero play can come in from him, but it's just not gonna happen. GMD picks up the final frag, and Gen.G take the second map off of the Sentinels in a very